someone that has a huge following. And I actually do like most of Ben Shapiro's stuff, but then
I agree with some of the things he has to say.
but man, this time I'm really just kind of just disappointed because again, he drops the ball. He's missing the point on so many things.
He's smarter than that, I think.
Hmm.
Now maybe I'm giving him too much credit, but I feel like he's smarter than that. And for him to be this irresponsible, like for this man to go on here and talk for 5 minutes straight about being pissed off about a fictional place in Wakanda was beyond stupid.
Hmm.
Like that was a waste of time for him to go on that diatribe about Wakanda. Like that, like it's a fictional place. It is a comic book invented, country that served to create a character in Marvel Comics. And he went on this rant as if black people said that this is what we can do if you never had colonized us, or and
you're
like
not telling your kids they can
Right.
be anything in America. You're
yeah.
doing
So
something
here's
wrong.
Okay. So and then not. I
the
mean,
fool that you know
it's
on
crazy.
set.
I mean, it's just funny because him, along with a lot of other right news that I've seen, they're trying to create the narrative. They're trying to like say that this is how all of us, basically saying that this is how we and all of the black people view Black Panther. The directors, the producers, everybody that made it are trying to push this agenda out there, trying to push this narrative for us to believe in, and it's silly. It's just silly. That's the best way I can explain it. It's very silly. So what we want to do is actually break down. Kind of what Ben Shapiro said for 10 minutes. I know a lot of people watch him. I'm just hoping that, I just wish people had more reaction videos to things like this because you have a lot of people that may watch Ben Shapiro and go, "Oh, he does make a little sense." But I wish somebody had a counter video, basically. So that's kind of what we want to do. We've seen it
The
once.
thing is with Ben though, he just talks fast, and that's the reason why people don't know how to debate.
I mean, not necessarily. I mean, it's not really that he's talking fast. It's just that you're not really conveying the information that he's actually relaying to you. You're not actually. I mean, I don't know why. I really.
That's really all it is.
He has these
If
good
you
word
slow
salads,
it down,
yeah.
you're actually able to get to the genesis of what he's actually saying, and you can pick it apart.
Right. Let me see. So we'll start picking it apart right here. Let me just play it here for a while.
If you're not telling your kids they can be anything in America, you're doing something wrong as a parent. And if you had to wait until Black Panther came out, right? We heard this about Barack Obama when
Oh, wait. Let's stop it there. Do you want to say anything on what he just said there?
In regards to
If you're not being a good parent
uh,
and telling your child he could be anything he wants.
yeah, that's kind of almost against what he actually says because he's against the transgender narrative and stuff like that, and he for him to just say that and say your kids can be whatever they want to be, it's kind of funny that he says that, or he starts his video off that way, which is another topic that we can talk about, but I just thought that was funny.
That was funny. You got no video on this one?
That one's good. It's actually the one that's looking at all of you guys.
Oh, it might have died. You just kind of just go back and forth on this thing.
Okay.
You think he died? The six, yeah, probably died.
Possibly.
Oh, no worries. We'll just kind of jump back and forth for me and him, and then yeah, cool. Oh, I can't really move too much. I worked out legs. Almost just cramped up right there.
Got the noodles.
Jesus, yes. Okay. Cool. So we're gonna go on this next part here. Just go back and forth on us here, and yeah, that's funny. I mean, we'll go on next.
Now that Obama's been president, Black Americans will feel like they too can be president. It's a transformative moment. And yet, all we hear now is that America is deeply racist and black people are still systemically discriminated against, and that black people are still victims in American society. So it turned out it didn't mean anything. When Obama was president, we were told it meant everything. And then he was president for 2 terms, right, reelected overwhelmingly.
Isn't it okay to just say that we're taking steps and it's just a step, but things are still continuing? It's like your father could be an alcoholic, beating, your entire family every day, but if he decides, look, for 30 days, I'm not going to drink alcohol. That doesn't make him not abusive. That doesn't make him not combative. That doesn't make him not an alcoholic. He's just taking the correct steps, maybe, to continue to do something.
I think what the biggest problem is, and especially with Ben Shapiro, and I don't know what's in his heart. I don't know what's in his soul, but I know what the rhetoric he spits out to his constituents and his audience, and they feed off of that. A lot of the stuff that I think that a lot of white people kind of grasp onto, and it seems like that's as a collective, how they feel is, okay, when are we going to get over this? When are we going to be even, guys? like, okay, we stopped lynching you. Okay, we gave you the civil rights. Okay, We made, affirmative action. Okay. You elected a black president. Okay, 2 terms, just like you said. And then, okay, now you got a Black Panther movie. Like, what else do you need? It seems like every single time black people actually get excited about some type of progression, some type of narrative change that is not the same as it was 300 years ago, and trying to get out of it, it always seems like white people saying, okay, is this it? Is this what it is that's going to be enough that we don't have to talk? Like, that's what it keeps getting to. It's hilarious. And Ben Shapiro's an idiot when he talks about that type of thing because he acts like he knows what he's saying.
Exactly.
And you don't. It seems like you don't talk to any black people whatsoever. And the ones that you do, Coon.
I don't know. I don't think he talks to any of them. I really do think he does not have a black friend. I think he needs to. He just needs one black friend. I think if he did, honestly, I think he'd change his perspective. He'd be like, okay, so I mean, I do have the 51% perspective. You know what I mean? Like whatever he's gonna spew out, it's gonna be a little different. Where he might spit out some logical facts on something, or might seem logical, but then he'll really talk about the fact that those statistics are really just masking the truth that's behind it. You know what I mean? So I don't know. We'll continue.
And then it turns out it didn't mean anything because we needed Chadwick Boseman to somehow make sure that black people felt accepted in American society because a bunch of white executives at Marvel greenlit a film about black people in a fictional country in Africa. The insanity that has attended Black Panthers, it's crazy. I'll see the movie this weekend. I hope that it's good because I'm going to spend money on it. So anything I spend money on, I hope is good. But I will give you an honest review of that. I know that's been forbidden by the media.
Can you pause it real quick?
That you're not allowed.
I thought it was interesting. He just said that they said it's insanity about the buzz around this movie. And nobody says that when it's a motherfucking Leonardo DiCaprio movie. Nobody says, oh man, this buzz is too crazy. And I just feel like a lot of the words he said is very condescending and very disrespectful in that light. And it's not just him; it's a lot of other people too. Right. Especially ones that have an audience of the right. And I'm not anti-conservative, to be honest with you. A lot of people will say, "Oh, they're automatic." There's probably people that are gonna be watching this. Oh, he must be with the left. He's with the liberal. I really ain't, to be honest with you. The only probably liberal part of me is the civil rights side of it when it deals with how black people are treated and minorities in this country continuously are considered second-class citizenship and the systemic racism that continues to oppress people. That's the side where they lean on saying, "Oh, I'm on with the left," but shit, I'm not for anti-gun laws and nothing like that. Like gun control and all that. I'm not with that game. So there's a lot of things that for one, we have an issue with trying to put everybody in a box and a label. And that's because when you do that, you're easily attacked. Right. Because then they can just attack what your political affiliation is and not what you're actually saying. And to me, that's a cop-out. Exactly. And Ben Shapiro does that a lot with a lot of people. They just don't know how to debate it. A lot of time when you're talking to somebody like that, who you basically have to hold them down to what actually the discussion is about and not let them go off on tangents and stuff like that basically take your attention away from the main issue. Exactly.
Let me see, what was his next point that he said? Something else.
To give your opinion on Black Panther. Emily Locke-Duvall, I think summer.
Oh, so he just finished saying, that people don't have a right to, we can't give our opinion on Black Panther. Like, basically, I think he's referring to the fact that Rotten Tomatoes had like a couple of bad reviews on it. And what did you see what the review was?
I've seen and I read them, just for myself because I wanted to see because it has overwhelmingly great reviews. Like if you look at the critic score, like I swear when you scroll down, you go down to the critic score, it shows it has a red tomato or green splat. Green splat meaning they don't like it. The red tomato means it was positive review. That's how it's scored on Rotten Tomatoes. Got it. By the critics, not the audience score. That's different. That's when I could, me or you could just go on there and do that. Right. But for the critics' reviews, I looked at them because I just wanted to see if they didn't like it, what they didn't like. For the most part, like I read a lot of them, there was no situation where they just were like anti-Black Panther or anything like that. A lot of them were just, they basically fell more on it was too CGI heavy, or they said it was just another Marvel movie. Those were some of the reviews that I got about it. And if that's what you feel that the movie was, I'm not going to sit here and tell you that you're wrong. That's your review. That's your opinion. Right. But when you start putting out rhetoric that Ben Shapiro's putting out saying that people are afraid to critique the movie or whatever like that, to me, that's just straight, to me, that's just bullshit. And to me, that's just a cop out. And nobody's here afraid of you or anybody who thinks like you as far as giving out a movie. If the movie fucking sucks, I'll say it fucking sucks.
Right.
You know, like Denzel said it in, Remember the Titans. He said, I don't scratch my nose unless it itches. I don't dance unless I hear some music. I'm not going to be intimidated. So, like, you can't make me do something I don't want to do. And this whole narrative that he's trying to push that people don't want to give it a bad review or people want to just, in this case, he's bringing up the person who made the tweet about saying, is it okay for me to go see this movie? I don't want to rob the joy from black people to go see it. That is straight bullshit and stupid.
That's stupid. That's just her. That's a personal issue with her.
Yeah, no, that's guilt.
Right.
If that's really how she feels, and I actually doubt she feels that way. A lot of people put shit on social media all the time, and it's complete nonsense. Right. It's not what they really feel. It's what they're trying to depict out there for other people to see, stir the pot. But if that's really how she feels, that's internal guilt. And I'm sorry, I can't help you with that, honey.
Just the feelings of a bunch of insane leftist white social justice warriors. She tweeted this out yesterday, and it's totally crazy. She tweeted out, quote, "So I carefully did not buy Black Panther tickets for opening weekend because I did not want to be the white person sucking black joy out of the theater. What's the appropriate date for me to buy tickets? Is next weekend okay?"
She was serious.
I think the appropriate thing for Emily Lakdawala to do is never to leave her home again or tweet. I think these would be because, honestly, you never know when you're going to offend someone just by your very presence. Like the necklace that she's wearing here, I think it's ugly. And it's ruining my white person joy today. Like, what kind of insanity is, what does she think of black people? Like, how derogatorily do you have to think of black people to think that if you're in a theater with a bunch of black people, they're going to think, that white person sitting here in a theater, watching a movie, talking about how black people are awesome.
Right.
That's ruining my black joy. First of all, what is black joy, and why is black joy different from white joy? Or different from almond joy, for that matter? I'm confused. Well, what are we even talking about here? But the sensitivity police have gone so far that we now have to have fully segregated theaters to make sure that black people are not offended by the presence of white people, according to Emily Lakdawala.
And that's the narrative that, and the rhetoric that he pushes to his constituents and audience, and what they feed off of is that statement right there, that extreme. And he uses the word insanity a lot. I think he forgets what the word insanity means. But he, saying that we need segregated theaters. Who's advocating this?
I guess he's talking about the white social justice warriors.
Yeah, no one's advocating that we need different theaters.
Other than them.
You're saying this. No black person has said, okay, we need to go to different theaters to go see Black Panther. Right. It doesn't make sense. Just on a financial level, black people want to see, especially because it's a good movie. Outside of that, because if it was a sorry movie, no, I would want somebody to be like, okay, if it was a garbage ass movie, all right, maybe somebody else need to redo the story and start over, because I'd want a good Black Panther movie. But it was an amazing movie, so you want it to make as much money as it possibly can. So why wouldn't you want other races and ethnicities to go enjoy it?
And I get those people that he's talking about because I've run across them at campuses. There's always a campus for some reason where someone will come up and be like, hey, I'm sorry for the past, I feel really guilty. Just weird shit that I'm like, I'll just look at them like.
Kind of like what happened with Malcolm X when the girl at the college campus came up to him and said, I feel guilty about what's been going on with black people and stuff like that. What can I do? And his response was nothing. Now in his book, in his autobiography, he talks about that he wished he would have been able to reach out to her and say something because he felt like that was harsh in him saying that. After he came back from Mecca, from Africa. But I'm just, I'm just saying that, that does definitely does go on a college campus more than anything. And
I'm just like, just don't do the things that the people in the past did in terms of even mocking or saying certain
heavy.
things.
Like in colleges, it is very liberal.
Very liberal
heavy. It is very left heavy, especially. So a lot of those conversations, I don't put past may happen, but for you to try to push the narrative out that that's what black people want. Right. That's where you ask backwards.
Let them say that.
Like if that's what you want to have them, that's a whole nother thing. But do not try to clump in black people or try to say that they're wrong for being happy or being emotional or feeling an attachment to this film and an affinity for this film.
It's insanity.
Like that's insanity to me. That's idiotic and it's irresponsible. Right.
But we actually have to segregate the theaters. It's amazing. I mean, we could do the converse. We did the converse for a couple hundred years in this country. Right? The converse was black people won't be allowed into white people theaters because that will offend the white people and ruin their white joy. This is stupid, folks. This is not only stupid, it's counterproductive to the notion of a good and honest and free American society. Okay, and then the New York Times has run a series of pieces this week, these long think pieces about Ryan Coogler's film. Okay, so there are two that I spotted right off the bat. One by Salomisha Tillett. I don't know who Salomisha Tillett is. I guess Salomisha Tillett is, well, I guess they didn't give this person's biography, so I don't know if this is a man or a woman. But the piece is called Black Panther Brings Hope, Hype, and Pride. And here's what it says. It says,
Hope, that right there, and he scoffs at that. Like, what, why would you have that why would you have that reaction? And I don't even know if it's natural. Part of me thinks it's fake. And
what's wrong with it giving pride?
Yeah,
I don't get it.
People are proud to see this movie, and I think people are elevating it bigger than what it is. Why can't we just be happy and excited and proud to see a movie and a depiction of people that are like our ancestors
we can relate to.
That we can relate to.
That's all it is.
In a movie that is in a positive light, and also big of a bigger universe such as the Marvel Cinematic Universe, because that is a big machine. People underestimate this thing is like a locomotive, and it is running through box office money. It is killing the game. There's none of these movies have been
it's not running
a
through
financial
DC.
Disappointment.
It's not running through DC.
Yeah, it's huh?
I said it's not running through DC.
Oh, it's running straight through that shit. That shit. DC needs to, and Warner Brothers need to get their shit together. Now, granted, when it comes to the comic books, I actually like a lot more characters in DC than I do in Marvel. But I'm sorry, on the movie level, DC, y'all fucking the game. Y'all ain't doing shit.
They're not.
Your movies, like, to me, you've only made two solid movies, and that was Man of Steel and Wonder Woman. The rest of that shit's crap.
Right.
So they got to get their stuff together. But besides that part, it's dealing with Ben, you know, he scoffs at that people may be feeling prideful and emotional about a film that depicts them in a positive light. And to me, that again, I don't really believe that's what he believes. I believe this is just a tactic and a play on his constituents. And again, I keep saying that. And his audience, he knows his audience. Just like Trump, he knows his audience. He knows who voted for him. He knows who subscribes to him. He has to tend to that.
Right.
And I think that's what he's doing.
On the next part.
I suppose neither of us is used to the spotlight. A dapper T'Challa, the Prince of Wakanda, says upon meeting Natasha Romanoff, a.k.a. the Black Widow in Captain America Civil War. A few scenes later, a recently orphaned and vengeful T'Challa, swapping his bespoke blue suit for a full-body bulletproof one, reappears as a new Marvel movie superhero. The Prince will have to live with the attention. Even before its February 16th release, Black Panther smashed box office records, beating out Captain America Civil War on first-day ticket advances, and surpassing Batman vs. Superman, Dawn of Justice, to become Fandango's top-selling superhero movie in history. Great. Okay. That's fine. I mean, sure. I mean, I hope the movie's good. But I do love this idea that
do you, Ben?
You know, this is some sort of amazing moment. Not since Spike Lee's Malcolm X has there been so much hype and hope for a movie among African American audiences. From special group outings planned by excited fans to crowdfunding campaigns to ensure children can see it, Black Panther is shaping up to be a phenomenon. In December, a viral video of two African American men excited to see the movie's poster with its all-star black cast. This is what white people get to feel like all the time, one man wrote on Twitter, seemed to capture the anticipation, garnering more than 2.5 million views. Okay, a couple of things about this. One.
Okay. I mean, first off, I bet they were, we say shit, we joke around. But they joke around, but there's always some truth to a joke.
There's always some truth to it, man.
And
there's
so,
some smoke with that fire, man.
So I'm kind of like, yeah, this is great. This is our film. Like, we could relate to this person. He's actually black. Like, this is cool. A black superhero that's in Marvel, or I haven't seen a black superhero in DC. But these are the two biggest comics that people read and they look into, and we finally get to see a movie about one. Yeah, this is great. White people, they don't have to think about it. That's what's funny.
I don't give a fuck what white people think and how I should feel. I really don't give a shit.
Exactly.
I don't care about that. Like, and that's my person. And what frustrates me is when they're trying to push a narrative to make other people feel like we should feel bad for feeling.
We shouldn't be too excited.
Or we shouldn't be excited, or that you're trying to make it seem like we think that Chadwick Boseman and his depiction of Black Panther and Ryan Coogler directing this movie is bigger than Obama becoming president. No one's making that comparison.
Right.
It's just in the Hollywood and the film world, black people have been depicted in a specific way. Hispanics themselves have been depicted in a specific way. Because when you think about it, they're always,
I did
a lot of
forget.
these ethnicities always get this stereotype or typecast. When a lot of these in Hollywood, and it's been this way for a long time. Now, is it getting better? Yes.
Yes.
And this movie is a step in the right direction, and this is the first one where we feel emotionally attached.
I did forget a hero.
Oh, Black Man,
And this is what I
Medium
mean.
Man.
I guarantee no one else thought of this hero. I don't care who's watching this. No one remembered this hero. But this is what I'm talking about. I'll give you one last chance to think of the hero.
Can't, bro.
Exactly. Hancock.
Oh yeah.
That was our. I mean, why weren't we big about that? I mean, because no the fuck knows Hancock.
Because it was made up. I think it was because it was made up, and I think people did like it. I mean, I thought it was cool.
That's cool.
And I thought it was a kind of a cool idea to create a brand new superhero, and Will Smith playing it, but it has no source material behind it.
Right.
People are missing the fact that that's why Blade, even as amazing as Blade was, and the franchise was financially successful and critics successful. The difference between that and Black Panther, for one, I think is the history of Black Panther, the character, number one. The other part is it's a part of the Marvel Cinematic Universe that where all these different characters are coming together, and this is his story.
Right.
And his story of his world. That's what makes it even better because you feel like you're a part of something. It's not about separatism. It's not about that. It's actually about togetherness because Black Panther's a part of this story where he got introduced in Civil War, and now he gets his own story to tell in his own movie, just like Ant-Man did, just like Doctor Strange did, just like Iron Man. Like everybody got theirs. He's getting his.
That's it.
And we're happy that he's getting his. What the fuck is your problem?
And we're still
And
happy
saying
about the other ones too.
Why I'm wrong. And
But I can relate more.
like it's stupid, and his constituents feed into the BS.
Black Panther, the superhero, was created by two Jewish guys. And just FYI, two.
That's great.
This is not what white
It's
people
all
feel like all the
Jack
time.
Kirby and
White
Stan
people don't
Lee.
go around thinking, oh, Captain America, my favorite white superhero. Oh, it's amazing. Iron Man.
They don't
What?
need to think
You
that.
don't have to. You just get to call because you're white. You get to call him superhero.
Exactly.
Just like why we have Black History Month. You don't say White History Month because y'all's month is January, fucking March, April, May, the rest of the motherfucking months. You don't have to label anything white because yours
It's already
is the
there.
norm.
It's the
That's
norm.
the supremacy. That's the ideology behind supremacy. You do not have to label yours. You don't have to call yourself a white American. You're just an American. I have to label myself. I
have to say Black
labeled as
American.
Black American,
Right.
or someone's labeled Hispanic American, or Asian American, or whatever the case may be. You can just be labeled American, and that is the narrative. That is the supremacy that you have,
Man.
and that's the bigger problem. And whether, and I don't know the man personally whether he gets that or not. If he doesn't get it, that's sad that he needs to actually become.
I'm telling you, that black friend.
He
He
needs
just
to read
needs a
up
black
and,
friend.
and get it and get out there and become and educate himself more. But I fear it's even worse than that. I feel he does know, but he's pushing the narrative to fit another agenda, and that's my problem with it.
That's really
Because
sad.
that's what I really feel that he's doing. Because I don't think he's that stupid. I feel like he on a surface level, I feel like he's an intelligent person, and I don't see how he would really think that way on what the rhetoric that he spews on a daily basis.
Right.
And I feel like that's just a feed into his constituents so that he can keep his followers up. I think that's really all what it is. But I don't know his heart. I don't know his soul. But that's how I'm viewing it. Maybe I'm like I said. Maybe I'm giving him too much credit on his intelligence. Maybe he isn't that smart.
That's just I'm thrown off the fact that I think you're right. I mean, I think he has to know. Well, and if he doesn't, again, I just think it's because he hasn't sat down and talked with a black person or just like hung out with one. I think that could very well be it.
Right.
We'll continue on that though.
Superhero. And if you think like this, I would suggest that you might need to start thinking less tribally. Okay, if you spend your life going around thinking, oh my God, I'll bet white people feel just like this every time they see Tom Cruise in a movie. First of all, do black people feel like that when they go see Denzel Washington in a movie? I doubt it. Like black people, oh man, Denzel, now I know what it's like for white.
Well, depending on his role, yeah. I mean, I'm kind of like happy that he's a main character. Hey, cool. We don't see that very often.
No,
You know what I mean?
and he's not only is Denzel a great actor, he happens to be black, and he plays his roles very well, and he's had a lot of success. And we gravitate towards success, and we gravitate towards successful people that look like us and that come from where we come from.
Mm-hmm.
What's wrong with that? And you have to understand that you don't have to say that Tom Cruise is your favorite white actor. You don't have to, because your narrative fits that.
Right.
He is just your actor.
They've never had to, though.
That's the whole point. They don't have to, because they're not
never
having
had
to.
to. Yeah.
This is the thing. They are not the square peg trying to fit in the round hole. We are that. Mm-hmm. We are the one they colonized this whole area. They the ones who took it from the Native Americans and created this free land, as they call it. Mm-hmm. And everybody else are the pegs that have to fit into their shit.
Right.
They created the shit. They created the puzzle. Mm-hmm. They already are the puzzle. So they don't have to fit into anything.
Man, now I'm thinking about it. How about other races? Like, I'm getting a little off topic with the video, but I mean, damn, how do they feel like a Mexican or like a...
Well, it's crazy, because I feel like there are, like, if you go in the history of the comics, there are Hispanic superheroes and stuff like that. And hopefully those things...
Spider-Man, right?
Could start coming out.
The new Spider-Man.
Well, he's technically black and Puerto Rican. Miles Morales. So that is one.
That's another one. Cool.
But I think that, especially with Disney, I think they're making some advances, because they came out with Coco, which was amazing. And a lot of people really liked that movie. It was very culturally deep. It was an animated movie. It's Pixar. But a lot of people loved that movie, especially for Hispanics. It kind of was the same kind of how Moana did for Islanders. Right. And how much research they did in making that movie. Like, because I watched, with my daughter, I watched that movie. And one time we've watched it so much, I'll actually watch how they made the movie. And I was just listening to the interviews and how they actually went to those islands, and it was actually talking to people on how their hair is and what they dress and what they eat and where they live, to make an actual authentic and accurate depiction of that. Even though it's an animated movie, they went in depth in their research, and I feel like they did that with Coco as well. Granted, I think they need it's one thing to be animated, but another thing to be live action, and I think that's what means so much more with Black Panther.
Right.
Is seeing it live action. Yes, I could have gone and seen a Black Panther cartoon. They've made Black Panther cartoons and stuff like that, but to see it live action, played by a human being, real feelings, real emotions, that's what made it more important.
I was going to tell you, go ahead and hit play and hit pause when you want to stop it on it.
People who see Tom Cruise. I've never once gone to a Tom Cruise movie and thought, oh, look at that white guy, he's representing. That has never occurred to me, not one time, because that's crazy talk, and you shouldn't think like that. And so... it was created by Stan Lee and Jack Kirby. Those were the two Jews.
And that's the reason that you don't have to think that way. The world, you built that world that way. You don't have that. You don't have that issue.
Guys. And now Ta-Nehisi Coates has written a new series of comic books. By the way, Ta-Nehisi Coates' comic books are garbage. I've read them. They're so bad, the Black Panther comic books. So I hope the movie is much better than the comic books. But here's Deirdre Hallman. Listen to this. Wakanda is a kind of black utopia. This is the country where this takes place. Wakanda is a kind of black utopia in our fight against colonialism and imperial control of black land and black people by white people, said Deirdre Hallman, a founder of the annual Black Comic Book Festival at the Schomburg Center for Research in Black Culture in Harlem. To the black imagination, that means everything. In a comic book, it is reality. And through a major motion picture, it's even more tangibly and artistically a reality we can explore for ourselves. There's so much power that's drawn from the notion there was a community, a nation that resisted colonization and infiltration and subjugation. So a few things about this. One, sorry to break it, folks, Wakanda is not a real place. It does not exist. It is just as real as Asgard. Okay, it's not a thing. Okay, number two, this idea that it's a fight against colonialism and imperial control. Here is the reason why so many people are going crazy over this. So one of the reasons people are going crazy over this is that supposedly the Wakanda, the country of Wakanda in the movie, I haven't seen the movie yet, so this is speculation based on all of the news reports. The country of Wakanda has basically been separated from society for a long time. So it's sort of like 17th century imperial Japan. Right?
This man is literally going on to a soliloquy about this fictitious country that was created for a comic book. Like, that's what's hilarious about this and nonsensical, is the fact that you really devoted this much time to talk about a fictitious world that was created by comic book writers and illustrators, and you're speaking as if people actually believe this place exists. Mm-hmm. And you're using it in a way to try to push the narrative on people that we feel that, yeah, we can create this now. making it way too much bigger than it is. But this is his only way to please his constituents and push the narrative that we're out of line for being emotionally happy and seeing this movie.
Right.
And it's really sad that he would go to these lengths to do that. Like, I would rather you just said, man, the movie sucked and went about your day.
Right.
Like, I really didn't save me listening to this bullshit, and which is much more dangerous because it feeds into the hate and separation of white people and black people and all the different types of races, and it's sad.
Right.
Separated from the rest of the world for a long time. White people have not come in. There's been no trade with the outside world except through vibranium, which I guess is some material, some alien material that landed there and is extraordinarily valuable and is used in weaponry like Captain America's shield. And they've been able to guard from the influences of outside culture. And therefore, according to the movie, Wakanda is the most technologically advanced country on planet Earth. It is incredibly advanced. It is filled with beautiful, wonderful people who all treat each other wonderfully. It is utopia. It is just the greatest place that ever was. And this is
in the movie.
Reality. The problem that I have with this is that there is no utopia for white people, for black people, for any people. It doesn't exist anywhere. There are two countries in Africa that technically have...
In the movie. In the comic. In the movie. Jesus. This is why I'm
so... about utopia is real. Like, people really think this place exists. And I'm like, are you serious, right? I literally was like floored that he actually went in this much depth about it. And I'm like, it's a fucking movie. And it originates from a fucking comic book.
Couldn't believe when I watched Ragnarok. When I watched Thor's Ragnarok. Oh, all the white people just seem to have so much power, and that Asian guy got killed by that white girl. Ugh. Like, what the fuck is a movie, dude? Like, watch the fucking movie. That's crazy to me that you would just try to cut it up like that, thinking that that's how we're cutting it up. Like, that's just...
Or how we think. Or
right.
how we're viewing it. And it's really a reach. He's reaching.
Yeah.
He's reaching hard. And maybe he's dry for views right now. Maybe. I don't know. Because
they're Ethiopia and Liberia. They were... Ethiopia was conquered twice by the Italians, but was never colonized in the formal sense of colonies being placed there with Italian folks who then ruled the roost for a long period of time. Liberia was originally founded by the United States, which granted sovereignty to the local black population.
Or so-called
and
sovereignty.
The idea
We'll get into
was
that
that
later.
a lot of
Jesus.
black slaves in America who had been shipped here against their will would be shipped back to Liberia. It was never really colonized in the technical sense.
Depends on what
Both
dictator
of
we
those
put
places
there.
have severe problems. Countries have severe problems. And countries that are isolated have severe problems too. Japan was isolated from Western civilization for centuries. That was not great for Japan. It wasn't great for China. This policy, North Korea is completely isolated from different countries. The idea that trade, isolation, racial unity, that these are the things you should be aiming for in a country, is a really bizarre idea in a liberal order, in a new order where free movement of trade and population and money is considered a generally good thing. And it's better life all around the world. If you have...
he is really speaking about like this is a UN issue.
Well, he just talked about like you shouldn't seclude yourself, so why are we building a wall?
Right.
I'm just confused on where he's...
It's backwards thinking, man.
It's... Okay.
Really founded a country on the basis that it wouldn't trade with outsiders, that there wouldn't be any cultural exchanges, and that you would actually produce all you needed in-house. It wouldn't be utopia. It would be garbage. That'd be a bad country. And just because it's a country filled with black people, that wouldn't make the country any better. This was sort of the founding ideology of Hugo Chavez in Venezuela. This is the Yush ideology in North Korea. This is not a good ideology, and this is not a race-specific thing. I'm not saying Wakanda is bad because it's black or anything. That's stupid. I am saying that if your idea of a utopia is a place where there is no quote-unquote white influence, I'd like to see a place on the planet where that's a good thing. I'm just as I think I'd like to see a place on the planet where a white-only country has been a good thing with no cross-cultural pollination.
Well, correct me if I'm wrong. Didn't they have, in the movie, they said that a meteor fell onto the earth and fell in that specific spot? What makes it special isn't the fact that they were black. It makes it special because of where the meteor fell. I think he needs to see the movie, because I think if he saw the movie, he would see that. It has nothing to do with just Wakanda being black people. I think that's where his disconnect is.
Yeah, no, he did preface it in the beginning that he hadn't seen the movies, so that's why I'm kind of confused on why he's continuing to speculate on shit he doesn't know what the fuck he's talking about. When it comes to Wakanda and the whole essence of it, the vibranium, the material that's created by that meteor that crashed in Wakanda, the people there decided to use that to empower themselves.
The 5 tribes, right?
Right. And then felt like it wasn't ready for the rest of the world to see that because they feel like it would be weaponized and stuff like that. And it speaks to that in the movie that they sat and they watched the world wage war against themselves. It went through that whole depiction of, like the World War IIs and the Civil Wars and slavery and all that different type of stuff that was going on. They were seeing that and they did not want to be a part of that. So they secluded themselves, kept themselves in hidden in plain sight, and they used the advances of that technology to bolster up their society and their community.
Right.
And for him to come on here and talk about that, the reason why black people feel that Wakanda was great because it was just isolated with black people. What the fuck are you talking about, dude?
Yeah, it's the area that the meteor fell. And it was an area that was predominantly black at the time. And again, hold on real quick. How come they didn't? You said 5 tribes? Why didn't they use 3? 3's always the number. You have the Father, Son, Holy Spirit. 3's always the number. Why 5? No, that's not right. They shouldn't have used it. It's a fucking movie, is my point. Yeah. It's like, that's what's stupid, bro. We're still talking about a movie here. But
he's talking about it. This is like historical fact.
Right. And it's a real sense that.
And this is a real dichotomy of people's thought process. And I'm like, bro, are you fucking, what the fuck are you talking about? I literally want to just go to the cameraman of his fucking show and be like, dude, what the fuck are you talking about?
Right.
What are you talking about? You're literally talking nonsense and actually trying to put this into actual thought that this is real.
Right.
This is a movie.
It's a movie.
And this is people about being excited for a character that's depicting them and that's relatable to them.
With a fictional storyline.
Fictitious storyline. It just happens to be in Africa. And it happens to be black, but I guess that's the problem. Because if it was another race, especially white, we wouldn't have that problem.
What if it fell in Russia? And again, it really didn't, but it's a movie. I'm thrown off by way. So, but okay, continue.
It's silly. The whole reason that cultures survive and thrive is because they adapt and advance thanks to technological advances they bring in from the outside. And yet this is being seen as sort of a model. And the problem is that if you're creating a racial separatist model, I haven't seen the movie yet, but if the worship of Wakanda...
That's your problem. You haven't seen the fucking movie yet.
If the worship of Wakanda is that a racial separatist model is good and that all of the evils that have been suffered by folks on the continent of Africa have been suffered because of colonialism and imperialism, that is historically inaccurate. There are a lot of reasons that countries in Africa have suffered.
It's okay to be historically inaccurate because it's a fictitious movie. I'm just still.
But he's really talking about the colonialization of countries and and stuff like that. And to me, I actually disagree with him. The forcing of a society to conform to an outsider and to a threat and to an intruder, and saying that that's not the reason why you have issues. Well, I can talk about Algeria. You gonna say that to them? The fuck out of here.
Right.
What the fuck are you talking about, man?
Let's see here.
Never got there. There's tremendous tribal antipathy. There's lots of tribal warfare. There are people selling each other into slavery. The idea of a utopia does not exist anywhere on Earth. There is no utopia. The closest that we've come to utopia is a place like the United States where people of any race, any color, any background, any ethnicity can live in freedom together while respecting each other's civil rights. That's the closest we've gotten
to utopia.
That's
the problem. The rights aren't respected by everybody and for everybody.
That this were a model for a country on planet Earth is silly and counterproductive. Okay, so there's my critique of Wakanda. Right? Here's what it says, by the way, in the New York Times article. Wakanda's rulers have wise.
This motherfucker just said the critique of Wakanda as this is a real nation. Like he's talking about Nigeria or something. What the fuck are you talking about, man? Like it's crazy how many times I've said, what the fuck are you talking about? And I'm not even trying to speak hyperbole. Literally, what the fuck are you talking about? You literally just sat there and depicted about Wakanda as if it was an actual fucking country.
Right. I'm going to pick apart Asgard. I don't like those fucking towers.
I don't like those motherfuckers.
They're shaped of a pyramid. God damn it, it's Illuminati. Yeah, we need to fucking
this was like laughable. It was frustrating but laughable at the same time.
I think he's done. Let me see.
We kept their homeland and its elemental riches hidden from the world, and in its isolation, the nation has grown wildly powerful and technologically advanced. There is no nation in human history that has become wildly powerful and technologically advanced simply
But it's just a
manipulation.
movie.
That is not how things work.
That's
It
not
is a
how.
mistake to think this way. It's a mal.
That's not even how the movie presents itself. You fucking idiot. The fact that they are technologically more advanced is not because of isolation necessarily. That's how they've maintained it. But that's not how they got technologically advanced. It's because of the rare material in vibranium that they use in everything that has made them more technologically advanced. The isolation has made them have, as far as the comic book is concerned, and I want to preface that because fucking Wakandans do not fucking exist, you idiot. Is that the isolation has made them give them self-worth.
Mm-hmm.
They believe in themselves as far as the comic book and the movie is concerned. They believe in each other. They believe that they all have worth. That is what the isolation has done. The isolation has not necessarily made them more technologically advanced. In the comic book, I want to preface that again. It's been because of the vibranium vein that got dropped by the alien meteor that they're able to put in everything that they do and build everything. And that's how they'll be able to technologically advance. In the comic book and in the movie, the fictitious movie, the fictitious comic book. Not real life, Ben.
And outside of that, people have gone as far to say, well, it makes them look weaker because in the movie it depicts it as if the vibranium does everything and they just use it up. It does everything. I'm thinking, it's just a resource, bro. Like you still have to take it and you still have to manipulate it into what you want to use it for. That still takes wit. And for you to sit here and say, oh, it does it for them, that makes them look dumber. You're stupid for not understanding how resources work. You're a fucking moron. But some people even going as far as saying that. I just wanted to bring that up because that was in that other video that I showed you before, but we won't go into that one.
That doesn't deserve much time. Neither does this really, but I feel like this need to be talked about just because how this will be viewed and how much more of a poor narrative this pushes out to people. Right. And I feel like it needs to be talked about and it needs to be dissected and, to me, humiliated and point out how stupid it really is. Right. And to have this type of rhetoric and how dangerous and irresponsible it is. I feel like that's why this is important.
Right.
Max point rather than a Martin Luther